Well, thanks, Akbar, for initiating this dialogue on One Malaysia. I think this is the first block that we are talking to, so we are most happy that we have this opportunity to talk to a blogger on One Malaysia. Well, the One Malaysia idea itself is linked to the Prime Minister and to the government, and so you have ministries and government agencies propagating One Malaysia. Now we felt when we looked at the idea of One Malaysia that it would be good if civil society also got involved in it. As slogan, One Malaysia has a certain attractiveness to it. It's something which captures the imagination of people very quickly. This notion of togetherness, of oneness, bringing everyone into the sort of Malaysian mold, so to speak. And some of us who responded to this notion of One Malaysia in the media initially, this was in the early part of April. You'll remember one of the newspapers carried a story on One Malaysia and got the comments of quite a few people. And individuals like Tan Sri Lamthai and I felt that it would be good if civil society gave it a push. And we discussed various possibilities. We had a meeting with the Prime Minister. And it was in the course of that meeting that we felt that an independent body, a foundation, would be one way of carrying this idea forward. And the individuals who could be involved in this foundation would be individuals who have played some role or other in Malaysian society, citizens who are concerned about ethnic relations. Apart from Lamthai and myself, there is Dr. Mahani Abidin, the Director General of ISIS. There is Professor Ismail Ibrahim, the former Chairman of the National Fatwa Council. There is Professor K.J. Ratnam, former Deputy Vice Chancellor of USM. And we have Dato Idris Jala, the CEO of MAS, and Dato Sri Tony Fernandez, the CEO of AirAsia. One Malaysia, Akbar, is undoubtedly a response to the situation that confronts us today. We have become more polarized than before. Ethnic polarization has been getting worse over the decades. It's a slow process, but many of us who have been looking at the situation, we know that it is reaching a critical point. There is a lot of evidence of ethnic polarization. When I first wrote about it in early 1980, a little monograph called "Why is there communal polarization in Malaysia?" I looked at the universities, since I was in one of the universities at that time, and I felt that this was a major challenge confronting us. Young people in the same course, but when it comes to how they sit in the lecture theatre or in their tutorials, the polarization is very obvious.
Has it always been like this, or has it
it was not like this. From my own experience, it was not like this in the early 70s. When I first started teaching at USM, there was much more interaction among the students, students of different ethnic backgrounds. Things began to change, I think, from the late 70s onwards, and it became more obvious in the 1990s. In the first decade of the century, it has become a real challenge. But this is at the level of universities, institutions of higher learning. I think it's also happening in secondary schools. In primary schools, it was a little different for a while, but it changed when our primary schools began to reflect these communal tendencies, meaning by which our national schools became largely Malay, and the main reason was because a lot of Chinese parents did not want to send their children to school system that used Bahasa as the main medium of instruction. In the mid-70s, this began to happen, and it became very, very pronounced. As you know, today more than 89% of Chinese parents send their primary school-going kids to Chinese schools, which are part of the national school system, of course. And the national schools became more and more Malay, and as they became more and more Malay in the demographic sense, they also became more and more Malay in the cultural and religious sense, meaning by which the emphasis was on things Malay. And this is a sort of vicious cycle, as it were, because what has happened is as they became more Malay, non-Malays were not prepared to send their children.
So we have had this three very ethnically divided schools because of the enrollment patterns that changed. What do you...
Yeah, there's no doubt at all that this has contributed to ethnic polarization, meaning by which a very important experience in the life of a little child, exposure to teachers who are not of your own ethnic kind, playing with other kids who are not of your own ethnic kind, sharing experiences on the playing field, in the classroom, in the canteen, in the school library, all sorts of things which are so important in the primary source of socialization of a child. And these things have become largely mono-ethnic, and this, I think, is one of the reasons why I think polarization is what it is today in Malaysia. And I don't see us overcoming this problem of separate linguistic streams at the primary school level. They have become so much a part of our landscape. I do not think that politically it would be possible to reverse this process, Akbar, and we will have to think of ways and means of encouraging our our primary school kids who go to different language streams, encouraging them to mix with one another. The vision school idea was an attempt to get them to mix, at least in certain specific spheres. The idea of the vision school from 1985-86 was to get primary school kids from different language streams to perhaps share certain events like speech day or sports day, and they could have perhaps a common assembly, the canteen, play games together, do things of that sort. But unfortunately, as I'm sure you're aware of, a lot of the Chinese educationists were totally against it, and so the idea just didn't take off. They did not want this sort of interaction.
Against the vision school?
Yeah, they were against the vision schools. The vision schools were an attempt to encourage a certain degree of integration while keeping separate language streams. But even that, these educationists were against.